The bubble was as big as it was going to get.
Rich, we're all
20, 30, 40 of our friends getting laid off.
Millions of dollars.
How can you save your coworker's job?
So at one point, after we started this company, we were hiring a new person each day.
People were spending a lot of money because they thought that it was just going to happen. It was the next big thing.
We knew that IGN was making all the money. The games channels were doing phenomenal business for back then. But when you would go to these company recaps, you know, the marketing folks would talk about nothing but ChickClick and, you know, the college site and the sports site.
The company had over 300 people when I joined on, you know, with stupid power students and stupid ChickClick, you know, disasters just waiting to happen. And, you know, way too many salespeople employed that, you know, ran around the office basically saying, this is the best job ever, I don't have to do anything.
You hear the stories, you watch TV about, you know, the janitors that get stock options and they're all rich now.
It was crazy because the bubble was as big as it was going to get.
All of a sudden, it seemed like the idea that hiring a person a day and just throwing millions of dollars at random websites because they had a decent plan was all of a sudden a bad idea.
Then the bubble burst. And I mean, yeah, we were around 400 people, maybe more, maybe a little less. But that, it was Black October, as I like to refer to it.
You know, the IPO happened and everyone was watching the stocks like, oh my God, we're gonna make millions of dollars. And then it went up like $2 and everyone's like, we're not making millions of dollars.
We finally went public, and I remember the very next week, the bottom fell out of the whole concept of the internet as a business. And we're like, wow, that's great.
We had about maybe 300 employees at that time. Every quarter there would be a new meeting called, right? And we would see, you know, 20, 30, 40 of our friends getting laid off.
There's people who didn't make the move from the old building to the new building. They got fired, I swear, on the bus ride over.
A lot of people lost their job. It went down to a number, I believe, like 54 people.
There's no more ChickClick, there's no more Power Students Network, there's no more high school alumni.
These were our friends. These were roommates in some cases. These were, you know, girls that you liked, gone.
You know, we're living day to day by this point, you know. We didn't even know if we were going to survive the next week.
At the time, we were in the Brisbane offices. We took up 2 floors, and then we moved up onto 1 floor only. And so you got the perception that things weren't going all too great financially for the company.
In the days when we weren't sure what kind of future we had, there was a very interesting dynamic between everybody because there was a fear that something was going to happen, but at the same time, there was this brotherhood created out of this of all people working towards a common goal.
A lot of what was going on then was very do-it-yourself attitude. Like, we didn't have a proper HR department or really one at all.
And in fact, the last person to get laid off was our HR guy, Jeff Crandall, who I imagine had to go into a meeting room with himself and maybe look in the mirror and go, Jeff, we just don't have the budget to keep you around.
And so we were back to this kind of core, you know, and a lot of the editors that are still here were around back in those days, and I think it made us all feel the more close, because we were trying to make it through. We all had our doubts the entire time. Is the internet going to survive? Are content sites on the internet going to survive?
I think the biggest change was when we had to go subscription to survive, and I was like, this is it. I mean, I'm gonna be waiting for the layoff and waiting for my papers, because like, I didn't think subscription was gonna work.
It was nothing we wanted to do as an editorial staff. We thought it sucked. You know, that was the whole point of the internet, was it was free, it was fast, and the question is, did it work? Is that something we absolutely needed?
Insider, you know, there are a lot of people who love it, but at the time there were a lot of people who hated it. You know, imagine coming to a website every day, getting reviews for free, and suddenly, bam, you know, it's like, oh, sorry, we're doing really poorly. Subscribe now.
At the time, you're just like, yeah, how can you save your coworker's job, you know, and how can we keep IGN as a brand? Because obviously at that time you had to think about people coming in and buying you out.
And so we got a lot of grief, and it was very difficult to publish the site every day because you busted your ass, but you got very little thanks for it. So, you know, as we recovered from that, from the most dire times, we were able to dial back a little bit, move more stuff back into the free realm, and that has helped us a lot. But had we not launched Insider, had we not shut down IGN Wrestling, we may not have been able to survive.
It wasn't until 2003 that we started getting some new revenue streams and some different kind of support that things started shaping up.
Next.
I can't say whether or not you should do this, but I can tell you that if we don't, nobody will have a job in 6 months.
Most people assume that the company is going to get bought by somebody.
We got to deal with News Corp.
It's definitely been hard to kind of keep that, hey, we're just your friends attitude when everybody looks at us as the big bad company at this point.